Hey, everybody, welcome to another live. I'm your host today, Rick Wilson. I'm thrilled to be joined by a fighting Democrat, a guy who understands the law and the Constitution and stands up for them every day in Congress and beyond. It's our friend Jamie Raskin. Thank you, sir, for coming on the podcast or on the show today.
I'm very psyched to be with you, Rick.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Listen, I wanted to start out. There suddenly appears to be on the Republican side today some buyer's remorse on the big, beautiful bill. We have Marjorie Taylor Greene saying she didn't read anything about the AI regulation restrictions, and other Republicans saying, "Oh, I didn't know we were going to cut Medicaid," and even Elon Musk today saying, "I can't vote for this bill. It's chock full of pork." What are your thoughts on this sudden come to Jesus with MAGA?
I mean, I had to agree with Elon, who said it was a disgusting abomination, a monstrosity. So it's kind of hard to back off of those remarks. I don't care how much, I know that they put Speaker Johnson right on it to say how disappointed he was. But look, I mean, the thing is, it's all grift, corruption. It's all attempts to stifle opposition. There's the provision in there that would actually prevent courts from imposing criminal and civil contempt against government officials who deliberately defy their orders.
Right.
So right now they're like rats scurrying on the surface of the ship trying to get off.
It seems like a real crack in the facade of MAGA, where they're normally so unified and they keep their stay on message. This seems to have actually rattled them a little bit. And I think part of it's the Medicaid, Medicare problem that they're recognizing is a real political stinker for them and a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
But where do you see this in the Senate right now? I'm seeing a lot of cracks in the GOP caucus over there, and I don't think John Thune is exactly Mitch McConnell in terms of mojoing the caucus into doing what he wants.
Well, that is the fundamental problem. I mean, if you look at the tectonics of it, I mean, Medicaid and Medicare are a fundamental American commitment. I mean, these are the great achievements of American democracy in the last century. Steve Bannon understood that. He said, don't mess with Medicaid. He said, a lot of our people, a lot of MAGA depends on Medicaid. So they're trying to back off, and they're pointing out other flaws and excrescences on this bill. But really, I think that is the fundamental problem. Some of them were suggesting, well, why don't we actually not give a tax break to millionaires or billionaires? Why don't? That is, again, way too far for them. I mean, that is the basic bread and butter. That violates dance with the ones who brung you, right? And so they're not really going to try to stand with the working class. And of course, it is the Democrats who are doing that. And we're not going to leave this alone. I mean, we're talking about throwing 14 million people off of Medicaid, and they say, oh, it's illegal aliens. You're talking there's 14 million illegal aliens on Medicaid? I mean, give me a break.
They've yet to produce a single real stat on that, to my knowledge. I mean, this sort of leads me to the next thing is, I think the White House, I think it's kind of hilarious that they're now saying Congress's next order of business is to codify all of the DOGE cuts and pass everything we wanted in DOGE. Where do you see that standing right now? I got to tell you, I think Mike Johnson's out of gas.
I mean, I don't even know what it would mean to do that. We each get to take one guest to the joint session State of the Union, and my guest was Dr. Lauren McGee, who got sacked as a child cancer doctor, chief biologist of unit at NIH when they fired people on February 14th, that Valentine's Day massacre. She's just been reinstated because all of the child cancer research they were doing fell apart, so they had to bring her back. So what are they talking about? Codifying what? I mean, codifying the cuts against the FAA air traffic controllers, against the U.S. Forest Service firefighters, the cancer researchers at NIH, the food and drug inspectors. What are they talking about? They didn't save us any money. They sacked 18 inspectors general whose real job it is to fight waste, fraud, and abuse. They saved us $91 billion last year. Elon Musk didn't save us, $91. He's a government contractor who's just stuffing his own pockets and stealing our data.
Well, on the data theft thing, I mean, that to me combines with that story this week that the Trump administration wants to give Palantir, owned by Peter Thiel, one of Elon's closest allies and friends, a $1 billion government contract to put all the government data about every American into one database, which strikes me as it might have a wee couple of civil liberties implications if we let them do that.
I mean, can you imagine if Joe Biden had suggested that?
Republicans would be burning the town to cinders.
There would be another violent insurrection, right? They'd be overturning the White House. But no, it's okay if Elon Musk and the right-wing Silicon Valley billionaire mafia wants all of the data on all of us from every federal agency in one place so they can access it.
It is increasingly creepy to me how much the former party of limited government is now the party of take it all, daddy. Do whatever you want. Tread on me has become their sort of motto. And I want to jump. Go ahead.
It's rule or ruin, right? If they're not in, then they're the biggest anti-government crusaders, and they're anarchists. They want to tear it all down, storm the gates, drive the House and Senate out of the chambers, attack the cops, hospitalize, wound, injure 140 police officers. When they're in, then their real Stalinism comes out. I mean, they love Vladimir Putin, who was the head of the KGB, who said the biggest catastrophe of the 20th century was the collapse of the Soviet Union. Right. They love Kim Jong-un, the pajama communist dictator of North Korea, and so on. I mean, that's who they are. They're just power fanatics.
Yeah, it is a very different and weird party today than what it was. And then I think the center of it is just the pure corruption. And I know I'm not going to put the cart before the horse here, but it strikes me that, again, if any other president had been engaging in these meme coin scams and taking a free airplane from Qatar and doing a tenth of the things that Donald Trump is doing right this minute, selling access, all of these things, that there would be and again, the Republicans, if this had been Barack Obama or Joe Biden or Bill Clinton, they would have been burning the city to the ground. This is something that is there's going to be accountability for this as we go forward if we take the House back, correct? I think people need to hear that this isn't going to just be like sidelined by the leadership.
This is breathtaking, unprecedented corruption, just unmatched in American history. It makes Haldeman and Ehrlichman and Watergate look like amateurs. Player meeting, So their crypto scam has already been netting Trump and his family around $1 billion a month.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Trump meme coin is like the Trump Hotel on steroids, because it used to be like the Chinese government would take out dozens of rooms for several weeks and never occupy them and just give them the money. Well, the meme coin is a channel to pour money in on a completely undetectable basis. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars they've already earned, and from God knows where. I mean, it could be foreign states, criminal entities. People are getting pardons through this process. People
completely pay to play. Yeah.
This guy, Justin Sun, who had multiple SEC investigations and charges outstanding against him, he invested $75 million in World Liberty Financial, which is the Trump's new crypto venture of their own. And what do you know? The SEC charges disappear. They just vanish.
It's a miracle.
Right. So, my favorite case is this guy, Walchik, who he had his own nursing home, right?
Right.
So he's ripping off his workers by taking money out of their paychecks. He says it's for Social Security, Medicare, but he goes and he buys a $2 million yacht. He's spending it on all his travel all over the world. He gets caught, okay? He gets prosecuted. They got him dead to rights.
Right.
Jury of his peers unanimously decides he's guilty. He's going to jail. He writes a pardon petition a couple of days after the inauguration to Donald Trump. He says, the whole reason this has happened is because my mom is such a big Trump supporter and they targeted me. There's no evidence for any of that. It's just nonsense. In fact, he was prosecuted by the Justice Department under Trump in the first administration. Well, anyway, he sends his mom. His mom gets an invitation out of the blue to go to $1 million a plate dinner for Donald Trump. She goes, puts up the $1 million, and what do you know? He gets a complete unconditional pardon. He was about to pay $4.5 million in restitution to his victims. That got wiped out. He's about to go to jail for 18 months. That got wiped out, all because of that $1 million ahead dinner. And that just scratches the surface, because this is, Rick, as you know, this is like what they're doing every day. It's like watching The Sopranos. They wake up and then they decide, well, what is the scam of the day?
Right. We're going long on wabistics, if I may make a Soprano joke. No, but this level of corruption is by every standard unprecedented. I actually spoke to a Republican Senate member the other day who, while he's still publicly a Trump supporter, was shaking their head saying, I can't imagine how he doesn't go to jail after this is all over. This is so egregious. It's so insane. It's so too much.
Well, I tell you why he doesn't go to jail is that people continue to turn their head away and say, oh, well, we'll let somebody else deal with this. I mean, look at all of the intelligent Republicans who have passed the buck. I mean, I will never forget sitting, 6 feet away from Mitch McConnell over in the Senate when we went over there as the impeachment team.
Right.
And all of his body language, all of his facial expressions, everything he said to me during the breaks indicated that he knew that Trump had done it. And indeed, after he voted to acquit him, he gets up and he says, we know that Donald Trump is actually morally and ethically responsible for everything that happened, right, but we did not have jurisdiction to try a former president, which was something we rejected on the first day of the trial.
Correct.
We rejected that motion. So it was basically jury nullification. He led them in jury nullification. I mean, even there, we got 7 of the Republicans to come over. It was 57-43. But we would not be in this nightmare today had he not capitulated and surrendered.
100%. 100%. So talk to us a bit about what story we should be following more of and paying more attention to that's happening in Congress or in DC right now that people aren't focused on, that you sort of think that deserves more attention.
Well, we're spending a lot of time on the thoroughgoing corruption of the new administration. I mean, the way they're looking at it, remember those contests they used to have when we were kids? Like somebody would win the opportunity to take a grocery cart and they would get 5 minutes in the grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever they couldn't throw. Like, that's what this is. These people are saying to themselves, we've got 4 years to loot and pillage everything. Trump has been given presidential immunity, and he also has the power to pardon all of us for anything we're doing. And we're literally just seeing them taking billions of dollars in business from foreign governments, from people seeking pardons, people seeking business. I mean, it's just an absolute destruction of any legal boundaries going on. And meantime, they're demolishing the rights of everybody else in the society. So, they want to strip 14 million people of their health care in the richest country that's ever existed while they're stuffing their pockets. So, I think this is the heart of the story here. We obviously have to keep our eye on protecting judicial independence so the courts are able to keep standing up for us. We're winning in court every day against this reign of lawlessness and chaos. We have more than 180 preliminary injunctions and temporary restraining orders against everything from the birthright citizenship, nullification order, to due process, to the mass sacking of federal workers illegally at the Agency for International Development, the Department of Education, NIH, you name it. But we've got to just stay vigilant in terms of defending the rule of law.
I think one of the places the rule of law is under enormous challenge right now is we have now reached the point where they say there's 2 types of democracies, one with a secret police and one without. And once you've got a secret police, you're no longer a democracy. The masked cops raiding schools and pulling people out of their cars and pulling people out of restaurants in the name of ICE and in the name of DHS. I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on just how egregious that they seem to be the one agency that truly wants to ignore the courts, that Noam and Tom Homan are, they have an extended middle finger to Congress and the courts every day, and their boss, Stephen Miller. I'm curious if you have any thoughts on that, because I feel like we're getting to a much tenser place where people are starting to push back against these raids, like they did in San Diego this weekend and in Massachusetts.
And we're seeing it all over the country. I mean, look, authoritarianism thrives when the exception swallows the rule. So So
Yep.
it started that those kinds of ICE things were very extreme and exceptional, but they thought they could get away with it because they've conditioned people to hate immigrants and so on. At this point, all of the money is flowing into ICE. They've increased the budget by tens of billions of dollars. They're trying to transfer all the personnel, all the lawyers over to ICE, and it's on an absolute rampage. So a few days ago, they went to my colleague Jerry Nadler's United States House of Representatives district office in New York, where they said they were, I think they said they were sheltering rioters, which was just a blatant lie. They take a 26-year-old staff person, put her hands behind her back, handcuff her. She's screaming. She's absolutely inconsolable. All of them are freaking out. This is into a member of Congress's office. Like, that is a deliberate attack and affront on the power of the lawmaking branch. And they did it 100%. Also with Congresswoman MacGyver, who was on a scheduled visit to an ICE facility in New Jersey, in her district, to go and visit there. And they ended up trying to bring charges against the mayor of Newark. They dropped those, and they brought charges against her completely without any basis at all. And so they are engaging in these provocative actions against Congress itself. And they have no more right to come into our offices and push our staff around than we would have a right to go into the White House after Donald Trump, sent his private militia to attack Congress and our police officers. We wouldn't have a right to go into the White House and start, sending the
rummaging, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's always good to talk to you, Congressman, and I always admire the work you're doing out there on the front lines. I want to thank you for joining us today, and keep up the fight, and keep giving other Democrats an example of how to go at these guys, because you do it better than almost anybody, and I really admire that.
Well, Rick, thank you for being such a patriot and for being, a great journalist too now, and giving people the news and giving people a way of understanding what's going on. I mean, that's the critical thing now, because we live in such an age of propaganda.
We really do. We really do. All right, my friend. Well, thank you so much. Look forward to having you on the show again soon.
Anytime. All the best to you.